Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Batteries Not Included. For today's challenge, I've decided to give something really cool a try. The warmer challenge was actually rather easily solved on Terra just by going with my normal Minecraft skills of just mining out the everything until it was all gone. I mean, my fellows from quite a few of the technical servers would sympathize with me when I say that I just strip mined everything and that solved the heat. So today, for this, my goodness, the cold. I didn't realize just how much of a pain in the butt it would be trying to keep things alive in the cold. I personally haven't been able to feel the cold since the year 2000 and, no, I think 1990, Well, anyways, these little guys suffer from it terribly, and the cheapest solutions are sometimes the easiest solutions as well. I had looked at all kinds of silly little things inside of the utilities, like the space heater, the liquid tappetizer, all sorts of ridiculous stuff, trying to figure out how could I create enough heat to keep my plants alive, to keep my dudes fed. As on the normal mode, so I'm actually giving it a try on the normal mode this time. Your dudes need something like 5 mealwood just to stay alive, and the various other things and various other properties, but when it comes down to it, just 5 of those is really all that you need so long as they're staggered. Oh, you're doing that right now? God, are you taking damage? Okay, I'm actually managing to soak up that heat. Jesus Christ. Now, many of these things, I do like looking at it from a bit of a technical point of view, even if I try to deny it too often. It's close enough to break down. Yep. Let's move you away from that. Time to run away, my girl. Let's just move you right over there. But I was looking at a lot of things, mass being one of them. And I can't help but notice, far too often, things like these temperature shift plates. 800 kilograms. They're twice as heavy as the insulated tiles, which are once again twice as heavy as the standard tiles, which are once again twice the mass of a metal tile. So I really like taking a look at that. Like when it comes to actually storing a great... Welcome to the team. But when it comes to storing a great deal of energy, whether it be, or actually I should say, temperature differential, having a great large mass really helps buy you some time. But trying to keep these plants alive, yes, the cheapest answer was, of course, the battery box. They make heat anyway, might as well just go way overkill. Just as far overkill as I possibly can, because this map is oh so cold. Oh, so cold compared to the last. So cold that it's a problem. Huh, you're still hurting yourself. You know what? Let's cancel that analysis. Yeah, just stay away from there for the time being, I think. God. Well, I'll leave that alone so that I avoid killing my people. Take care. Yes, my young friends, I tell you, there is no shame in defeat so long as the spirit remains unconquered. Perhaps it's true, though. For now, maybe I'm still far, far too soon for this time. I can enjoy it all I like, but perhaps I don't think I am to return. Now, to come on to this and take a look. Oh, I don't believe my people are starving. I've replaced the simple toilets with more complicated ones. Let's pause the game for a brief moment, while I go into the detail of this vertical transmission line. At the point of the green, the insulated pipe goes down by 1 as well as up by 4 into the next bridge. So at this bridge it goes down, yet there is no connection of the pipe in this area right here, nor should there be right here or here. The entrance at the bottom fills all of the rows with clean water as it becomes available, and then half of all of the returning water will go to the bottommost row, whereas the other half will be split between these two rows as it is available. As for the excess, once it's come to the point that this bridge can no longer use its high priority to rob from the line and feed into the primary filthy staging tank, which will be fed into the water sieve here for cleaning, followed by going back through its radiator pipes to cool it back off, or more appropriately, to attempt to rob some of its thermal energy away and carry it back to the clean staging tanks. Now, under the assumption that the clean staging tanks are all full, so are the radiators, and the water sieve can accept no more water for its waiting for time for itself to grow empty, then the bridge will no longer activate because there will no longer be placements for this filthy water, so it will continue along on its normal pipe until it reaches this next bridge, which will rob from it to feed these 8 water weeds? No, cattails? No, fiber reeds. Yeah, that's what they're called. Under the assumption that I have more than 24 duplicants, because I do believe that one water reed can drink the output of 3 duplicants, perhaps even 4, then it will continue along on its normal pipe once again until it reaches this hidden, empty staging tank here, specifically for the filthy, next to all of the clean staging tanks. Now, the time spent in the clean staging tanks will allow a great deal of the germs to die off. However, I do believe that I've got a bit of a solution to help in that even too. Because you see, the salt water that I'm using for filling them up, it's a sterile enough environment to where the bad bugs do die quickly. However, I've been led to believe that they have some interaction with the tile that's beneath them, and that when it comes to to heat calculations, it's only the spigot that the green exit port, is sitting over that exchanges heat with its surroundings, and if below that green exit port you have either a mesh tile or an airflow tile full of vacuum, then it means no heat exchange can occur. Now, a vacuum would probably be the smartest thing, but I plan to fill up this vacuum space with chlorine gas. Just pump it right on in, pressurize it up. I see a little bit of chlorine right here that I can attempt to harvest for the purpose. And I do believe that by pumping the area beneath the tanks full of chlorine, it should tell the tanks that they are in contact with a chlorine environment and accelerate the killing. Even under the assumption that it doesn't, that's okay. an experiment is an experiment, and even a failed experiment leaves behind results which others may wish to look upon someday. I went ahead and set up a very, very simple electrolyzer setup, and then I complicated it. Let me bring up the automation overlay so that you can see that I've hooked up sensor switches to these doors here, such that when I'm attempting to get the gases inside of here to be pure hydrogen up top, I can just set all of the sensors to like way higher, some 20,000 grams or whatever, instead of whatever the normal settings are supposed to be. And then over time, the hydrogen will flood down until it's down to this manual airlock, which is locked. And then I can flip both of these switches at the same time, preferably while the game's paused, let them both close, and then I've got a perfect environment set up inside for a non-filtered mechanical filter, environmental filter even. Let me press the buttons. I kept the power wires simple. I kept the water line simple. I attempted to keep the radiant cooler that I made out of hydrogen fuel as simple as possible. I mean, you see how it goes, and here's the magic behind it all. After it naturally fills all the way up, it will eventually be allowed to naturally fill this one too. Once this one has become completely filled, its pipe will continue on the stream past it, activating this gas pipe element sensor here. And that single blob will wish to be placed down next to the generator. However, the line from that generator is going to be full until the point in time that this tank is empty, and then it will be able to place the blob in there. And that blob will be activating the, putting a green signal into this red wire, making it to where it turns on the hydrogen generator, but only when there's a green signal, which means that only under the assumption that this reservoir is completely full, then it'll kick this on. And otherwise, should I turn these manual generators back on? Perhaps for the time being, I'll turn on at least 2 of them. Oh, and then of course I went... I had been digging deep here, but my ladders got buried beneath ice, which froze from a bit of falling water from an accident. So, straight back to what I know, I just went back to the good old Minecraft strategy of strip mining it all out, and that works. That works well. Most certainly well enough for now. But yep, I think I'll leave that alone. I would say that my time on Rhyme is starting to go well. Let me turn off some of that power there, and maybe just a little bit of that power there. There we go. That way I can modulate my heat and really pay attention to how much of it I'm... Who's suffocating? Otto. Otto, can I move you? Please don't suffocate, Otto. Okay. Otto lives to die another day. Don't worry, young Otto. Like I said, there is no shame in defeat so long as the spirit remains undefeated. I do enjoy watching the way that... Okay, somebody made a mess. Nicola. Well, I kid you not when I say I had to have the patience of a god to pull this off without using an air pump. But I finally managed to wait for it to be all one solid gas within my, cauldron? Inside of this bubbling cauldron of fishbone design, this polluted water vent will erupt, filling up these mesh tiles, but not being able to fill up these airflow tiles. They're only full of polluted oxygen, which, coincidentally, the polluted water off gases. I've also got a pump and a small reservoir, as well as a spigot on the bottom side for attaching wires and pipes. But up on the top side, I've got 4 in the way of mechanical hands working away for me, moving the sand into the insides of the deodorizers. And then since the deodorizers seem to be able to reach 2 blocks, at least as far as I was led to believe, I at first started flooding the floor that had the deodorizers and noticed so much oxygen down below. So I went ahead and changed it to where there's a couple of bottles worth of water here. Not very much, just a thin liquid layer, enough to stop the air from escaping. And the deodorizers reach straight through the water layer into the gills of the semi-labyrinthine design. If it were a fish, I would call this its labyrinth, since that would be a breathing organ. Primitive breathing organ. But nevertheless, I've finally got myself a clay farm. That way I can go and farm up all the ceramic that I truly do need. Because I actually need a great deal of ceramic. You'll see why soon enough, I'm sure. Let's look at the material overlays. Just, messy wires. Simple pump. Not a single thing in the way of gas. Oh, what is... No. I didn't even use any of the automation. It seems that my helping hands will be all the automation I need. Although I should probably place down definitely granite, because I've done the entire thing a combination of igneous rock and granite, together in combination, thick and thin, to make a bit of a heat sink. Behind each and every last one of the airflow tiles here is a temp shift plate made of igneous rock. And then behind each of the mesh tiles, I've hidden a drywall made of granite, so that hopefully they'll work together to make a nice even-bodied heat sink, in comparison to some of the more extreme of temperatures that have been going. Oh, wow! It filled itself up! How? Oh, that's just nice. That's just nice. Huh. Huh. Oh god, that really does kill me. Oh, sand. I'll be needing some of that. Can convert that straight into clay. Ah, clay. I loved it in Minecraft, and I love it in this game. I love it in every game. I love making zerglings into soft, squishy clay so that I can eat them. With a little bit of... Lemon juice. That's what makes them squeal and pop so well. Nothing like roasted zergling. Chippo, do you want some roasted zergling? Oh. Well, before I lay down, I suppose I can happily say that I have got the oxygen solutions taken care of. It's at 3 kilograms, which is quite nice, and closer to 5. I switched this off for the moment because it's so much more powerful than I realized. Like, so much more powerful. Just clicking it on, you can see that the polluted oxygen levels are almost managing to get up to 16, just barely into the 1700s. Through the deepest part of this, in the fins, or the air channels. But overall, once left running for a good decent period of time, there starts getting, periods of like vacuum down inside of here, and the bubbling will really take off. So it very, very, very efficiently seems to transform polluted water into oxygen. As for the rest of the everything I put onto it, I just decided that some signal switches make it to where I could at least go and close the doors, and that way eventually, under the impression that the deodorizers are not fast enough to keep up with this, which I'm kind of praying that they're not fast enough to keep up with this, even through its dormant periods, then I can go and use the excess water for other things, and if the excess water ever reaches basically the top of the door here where this pneumatic door might leak, the airflow tile here will catch the water just a little bit and flood out the vent, preventing it from making more. So it should never get any taller than this, I think. I'm positive. Almost 100% positive. Only time will tell, though. Kind of like this part here. I didn't imagine it to be so powerful. I'd calculated it to be about maybe 2 or 3 electrolyzers in speed. It didn't have to be much, it just had to be something. And, it was just kind of balancing it against this. It's just like, well, this size comparison, they're about the same. Air comparison, they're about the same. And then it's just like, oh, no. No, air comparison, they're nowhere near the same. This thing puts out like 5,000 grams of oxygen all over the base, all the way out to... Okay, it's like down in here before we... Like, not even down in here, normal oxygen levels. Yeah, it's like down in here. Like, through these areas, down in here before you finally start seeing the overwhelming might of this thing. Let me go ahead and go through its various overlays one more time, because I have changed it ever so slightly. You may wonder, how did you manage to get it to where it's just polluted oxygen in here? Patience, just waited it out. Just opened up the corners, waited for a while, it eventually cleared, sealed up the corners, said a prayer, and it was done. Lord Nurgle gave it to me. It was his design. I may have had a bit of inspiration from a fellow who seemed genuinely polished, as well as a couple of others who helped me find some numbers. But I think that the design itself has existed since before time existed. It's one of those patterns that has always been. What are my temperature levels looking like? Oh yeah, they're looking like I need to... There we are. Turn on another battery bank. For the heat. For literally nothing but the heat. But just carefully modulating that temperature to try and keep it. This one up here isn't doing so well. I mean, it isn't planted yet, but it's only 1 degree. It should be 10. This one isn't doing so well. Well, only time will tell. I do like my breathing apparatus. It works well. Lord Nurgles' Cauldron boils away. Of course, it was supposed to be a Klei farm, not necessarily an oxygen farm. It turns out to be a better oxygen farm than I had anticipated.